Greg Joswiak. Thank you for having us here.
Oh my goodness, thank you for coming to enjoy this very special week with us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It's a special moment
It
for
is,
Apple.
it is,
And
it is. And for our
you.
users and our developers, it's a happy week.
What this edition is so special, so different from the other?
Well, you and I know that this is a very special event for us every year because it's when we get to talk about the stuff that we've been working on so hard for the past year, in some cases much longer. We get to give developers a roadmap for the things that they should be preparing for, especially that we're going to ship in the fall so they can be ready. It gives our users an opportunity to see the type of new features that are coming down the road. This one is particularly special because, well, we unveiled a new design, that features the liquid glass that we talked about. Great design is important to us. It's important to users. We know it's important to people in France, right? Design is not just the aesthetics of something, but it's how it works and how it makes you feel. And we're very proud of this one and our ability to not just make this an experience for the iPhone, but to harmonize this experience across all of our devices and operating systems makes it incredibly special. We were able to show that we're continuing down the path that we set with Apple Intelligence, that it really isn't about creating just an individual chatbot. Those already exist, they're fantastic, but how do we use generative AI as an enabling technology to make our features even better? And of course, then we have the opportunity to come together as a community. We have over 1,000 developers here that come in person, and of course we have millions more who watch online, as well as millions of consumers who watch online as well. So it's a special week.
What is the core message you want to deliver to the developers community?
Yeah, well, developers are our lifeblood, right? Is their ability to create apps are what, in combination with the work we do, is what has changed the world, what has changed people's lives. And we provided an incredibly large platform for them to access around the world. And we try to give them at these events, unveil more tools, more things that they can do to create better experiences for their users and create a better business for them. One of the big announcements yesterday, you saw got some great applause here, was that we gave access to our foundational Apple Intelligence models. So that they can, through no additional cost, right, to them, they don't have to pay API fees, cloud API fees, through a very private experience between their data and the models. It's all on device. They don't have to ship their customers' data off to somebody else, and even having the ability to work when they're not on the internet. Developers love that. They want to bring generative AI to their apps, and they want to do it in a way that's economical, in a way that's private, and we gave them that ability.
It's a developer moment, what I just said, but this keynote has seemed much more consumer-centric than usual. Was it just a feeling we had, or
well,
was it a message?
it's always a blend, right? It's always a blend because we are unveiling to the world the features that we're working on, the features that, we have over 1 billion customers, as you know, and and a couple billion devices out there. So the things that we announce are going to impact a lot of people. And so we need to talk to that broader community, but we also talk to developers. And you saw that we had even a language within the keynote of, okay, now here's the things for developers, here's the APIs, here's the way that they can access this, because the message is for them as well. And then we additionally, of course, the rest of the week is really dedicated to developers. We have a State of the Union, which is our platforms keynote, if you will, that's really aimed at developers. That came a little bit later. We have over 100 technical sessions that are available to developers to go deeper into the technologies that we've announced. We have labs that developers either on site or they can do online. They can sign up with our engineers and our designers to get advice and consultation on how to implement these new technologies or these new designs into their apps. So the whole week is really dedicated to developers. That keynote is a little blend of both consumers and developers.
A small time for consumer.
Yes.
You have noticed a lot of new features coming. Which one are you the most,
Oh
the
my
proudest
gosh.
of?
That's always a tough question because, again, as I said, the team works so hard on these and we're exposed to these, early on. I certainly am proud of the new design. I think it's something you interact with your products all the time. So how many times do you pull your iPhone out of your pocket or out of your purse and out of a handbag and look at it? So having a great design is so important to the way that, again, not only it looks and the way it works, but also how it makes you feel, and it still makes me smile. I do love the fact that we continue to push the intelligence into more features. I'm looking forward to the next time I travel and I can use, live translation, and I can use it in messages, I can use it in FaceTime, I can use it in the phone. So there's just a number of great features. I'm even thinking about getting remotivated to start running again with Workout Buddy on my watch, that motivational, pep talk to get me going and give me, feeling along the way and how I'm hitting milestones and taking, again, intelligence to do this without knowing them necessarily even using intelligence.
Too hard to decide.
Too hard to decide. It's hard. It's like, what's your favorite kid? I can't know. It's hard.
Let's talk about liquid glass, because this is the most impressive things we've seen yesterday. How can you explain to people how hard it was to build it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, first of all, it's a big effort to change design, both on us and, of course, all the things that will change as a result of it, including our third-party apps. And so you don't want to do it too often. So we like to do it about every decade or so. This one was, the prior design we introduced with iOS 7 in 2013. Back then it was enabled because our display technology had changed. We moved to Retina displays, and so we went to a layered, we could take advantage of that higher resolution to go to a layered structure, a bit of a flatter design, more vibrant colors. And here, the team was really inspired by the work they had been doing for the last few years in developing Vision OS. And Vision OS had a utilized glass as part of that interface of how you would map digital elements into the real world. And the team became enamored with, it's so beautiful and it's so usable, can we take that and apply that not just to iOS like we did with iOS 7, but to even have a broader ambition that can we take it across our products, and which is a direction we had continually moving in, that commonality of fonts and commonality of approach, so that our products, especially as people own multiple Apple products, they feel comfortable moving across, that they feel like they came from one company and one design team, which they did. And to do this is not something we could even imagine doing 10 years ago, because, as you alluded to, it's very difficult. And I don't mean difficult just on the designers, but from a technology standpoint. But our technology, our hardware, our displays, our graphics technology, our compute power has advanced so much that we're able to do this. And part of the challenge, of course, is with the glass, it means that you're refracting light and things behind it, right? It's translucent. So that means in real time you're processing all that information. And Apple Silicon gives us a gigantic advantage in being able to do that. We like to say only Apple really could do this, with that integration of hardware and software and having the great silicon capabilities. So it's something that, it's still, obviously we're in beta, it's not completely done yet, but you get a pretty good sense for where we're heading, and it's feeling pretty good.
And it's going to be available for all the iPhone, compatible with the iOS 26.
Yeah, and that was one of the things too, and I'm sure we'll talk about iPad at some point, is we try to make these features available as broadly as we can, to a point that they still will work great, right? If they can't, then we don't want to offer an upgrade for our customers that it won't work well. And this one goes all the way back to iPhone 11.
I would like to have a word with you about Apple Intelligence, because we've heard about this from last year. You said that it has to be useful, personal, integrated, and private. How does that translate in real consumer life, real user experience?
Yeah, again, our approach is as alluded to earlier, is a little bit different than others. Again, we're not trying to create Apple Intelligence as a single destination, a single chat bot, somewhere you go type of command line. Those exist, they're fantastic. So much so that, again, we did a deal with ChatGPT, with OpenAI, in order to provide their ability to do that. But what we wanted to do is, again, to create something that was more integrated into your product experiences, into your everyday experience. Certainly part of that is because to do this well, you can, you rely on the privacy that exists within our devices. And our approach has been a little bit different there. We do so much of our Apple Intelligence on device, where your data never leaves, it never goes to anybody else. It doesn't go to Apple, it doesn't go to anywhere else. And in the events that you need a device or a model that's even more powerful than what's on your device, we created something called private cloud compute, which no one had ever done, which extends the same privacy protections you have on your phone that you're doing things on device up into the cloud. And it does that in a way that is completely secure. It uses Apple Silicon in the cloud. It transmits things in an encrypted way. It only works on the information during the moment it needs it to provide you the answer. It's not identified back to you, and it's thrown away when it's done. It's not stored. And for our community of security researchers and privacy researchers, they can go verify it's doing exactly as it said. They can, see that we can't change the version the day after they were here. It's all cryptographically signed to that version. It's something that no one has ever done before. It's just an innovation in privacy for cloud computing. And so, our approach is just, again, it's different. It's really about, like we have done for years, anything is, we like to make the technology recede, and you not have to worry about the technology. You just want to worry about what you need to do. Right? And you don't have to think about, is it intelligence? Is it happening on device? Is it happening in the cloud? Where's that all happening? It just makes it easy to do the things you want to do. And that's what we try to do.
According to you, what defines a truly helpful AI assistant in everyday life?
Well, for us, again, it's less about being just an assistant. It's about how do we integrate into the features you're using. And so that's to us is the number one thing. Again, as I said, most ideal for us is not even know you're having to use intelligence. That is just doing what you want to do. And so with anything we do, we've talked about that for years. We like the product to disappear, the technology to disappear, and you just focus on what you need to do. That's the most ideal to us.
That's a good idea. What should it be able to do genuinely, to be genuinely useful without crossing any lines?
Yeah, well, again, for crossing lines, we're always, big on everything from privacy. Also, you saw that a lot of what we've embraced as far as feature sets for generative intelligence, they really use the best parts of generative AI, and we try to minimize the worst parts. I mean, one of the things, of course, generative AI has had as a criticism is hallucination. We try to do a feature set that isn't as concerned with hallucination. It isn't going to, be as big of an issue for us. So, we're always just, again, trying to make sure that our stuff is helpful. And that's the opportunity generative AI gives to any of us, right? It's an enormously important thing, right? It is really right up there with the internet and mobility, mobile computing that we provided with the iPhone. And it is a new generation of technology that can create images, it can create language in a way that just couldn't be done before. We want to harness that with the features of our products and, again, using it as an enabling technology.
What do you prefer to do with Apple Intelligence? What is your favorite?
Well, I'll tell you what I do most often. I'm always moving too fast. I type fast, I think fast, I do everything fast. And so many times I zip off a text or an email and I'm like, whoa. I see it later and I say, I thought that made more sense at the time. And so I proofread everything now. It's just what I do. I use Apple, the writing tools for Apple Intelligence. I proofread everything. And I almost feel like it's a video game now. If it says 0 changes, I think, yes, I got a perfect score. Otherwise, it makes the changes. It might fix everything from punctuation to grammar to, it just works very well. But I use so many of the features every day.
You talk about the iPad. And yesterday we saw some brand new things for iPad. Is it getting more centric in the ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem, that it used to be?
Well, look, iPad has been an enormously popular product for us. It is, as we have long said, it's a magical sheet of glass that can become anything you want it to be. It really is that. And so we love that versatility of iPad. And so we wanted to take the experience even further for people who wanted to do more things with it. And that's not everybody, right? And as a result of knowing it's not for everybody, there's some people who love just the very simple, easy, beautiful, wonderfully beautiful interface that the iPad has. And we said, look, if that's what you want, you don't have to change that. But if you want to do more, we gave it a new windowing system. If you enable that, right, a new menu bar, new ability to do things that allow you to do, to make it more capable, more versatile. We gave it ability to do more things with audio and video. For example, change your audio input by by app, which is important for people like yourself who maybe are doing, interviews and influencing and creation. We give a new way to manage your files. Again, things that are for a more sophisticated user that we don't have to expose all users to. But if you want to do that, and you saw it got incredible reception yesterday, people are excited about it because the iPad is a loved product. We want to do even more with it. Look at you, example.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And have a good WWDC.
I'm having a great one. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you.